Hello, this might be perhaps the most important video I ever make on this channel. In this video, we are going to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, right? And what it means for those who are, being spiritual, who are on the spiritual path, right? It's okay, let's just start from the beginning, right? Jeffrey Epstein, as you all know, you know, pretty bad, really, really bad. You can't even articulate how bad, how much of a creep this guy was, right? It's the stuff that he was doing behind the scenes, the stuff that most of the leads were doing behind the scenes, they are very messed up, right? And the more you dive deeper, the more you look into these files, what you realize is that a lot of these guys, right? You can look this up yourself, right? A lot of these guys were, in a sense, religious and spiritual lunatics. As in, they believed, they knew a lot about spirituality, right? They know a lot about religion, especially religion, right? Because like if you go to that, Jeffrey's island, right? He's what some people may call like his palace, not his palace, it's like small castle, like blue. You probably seen like a image of it like that, a little blue color box, right? If you go inside it, right, it has all of these like not even just inside that like building, but even in his apartment, even in his house, right? You can see a lot of spiritual and religious objects and figures, like I'm not talking like about one or two, like a little small object here and another object there. No, it's like literally everywhere. It's literally everywhere, right? So like these guys, okay, what I'm about to say might shock you, but like these guys, like they had a plan, okay? So we are diving deep into like conspiracy here, right? So it's like it's going to be like a big conspiracy, but just trust me on this. Just trust me, right? I'll say it, and then after I say it, you guys could judge if I'm crazy or not, right? So what these guys wanted to do, right? It was so simple. It was so simple, right? What they wanted to do was to artificially create the end of times. Okay, you guys are probably thinking, okay, that sounds so retarded, right? That sounds so stupid. What do you mean the end of times? Like, what I mean when I say the end of times is that in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, there's like stuff saying that like the end of times will come, where like humanity will die and then blah blah blah, everyone will die. Only a small handful of people who have been picked by Jesus himself will survive. That same prediction is also there in like Hinduism, right? There's this thing called the cycle of life. I don't remember exactly what you call it, but it's like the cycle of life. Like it's basically there's the good times, the okay times, and blah blah blah, the bad times. We are currently living in the bad times, right? This is the bad time. That's just a fact, right? As per Hinduism, we are in the bad times, right? And these spiritual guys, they know this. They know this, right? Like these spiritual, like high level, elites, they know this. Like if you go to like their religious affairs, they worship the owl god, right? Like these guys are fucked up, right? So the reason why I'm saying this, right, the reason why I'm saying that they know this is because what they are trying to do is that like they know that we know, in a sense. Like basically the old paradigm is basically shifting, and the humans are basically not why am I saying humans, the average person, they're basically being hip to this stuff, in a sense. They're starting to know all of this stuff, right? Like ever since the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, and even before that, actually, more and more people have started to become more conscious to these kinds of things. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to artificially create the end of times, right? They're trying to basically, in a sense, kill everyone, and during the destruction of everything, I mean, right? They are going to create the Antichrist, right? Okay, I know this sounds very, very out there, right? But they're trying to attempt to create the Antichrist, right? And the Antichrist is going to be, if you don't know who the Antichrist is like, in simple terms, the Antichrist is not Christ, but people believe that he's Christ. He's like a fake version of Christ that's been controlled. That's basically who the Antichrist is, right? And not a good dude, right? So what they're trying to do is that they're trying to artificially engineer an apocalypse. I don't know how to pronounce that word, but they're trying to artificially, basically, engineer the end of times, right? So. Remember when I said the Hindu cycle? The Hindu cycle, where after the bad times, there's going to be the good times. They are trying to speed up the process. They are going to be like, okay, we are in the bad times. Let's make it so bad, so freaking bad, we automatically go to the good times, right? That's what they believe. They believe if we increase increase the negativity 100-fold, we'll just jump straight into the positivity, right? That's what they believe, right? And I know this sounds crazy, right? This sounds crazy, but there's so much of evidence to believe this, right? Because okay, you know, okay, let's just keep on going. I'll just keep on going with the story, and you guys, it's up to you, right? Whether you believe it or not, it's up to you, right? It's up to you. But first, hear me out. Just hear me out, right? What they're trying to do is they're trying to create the Antichrist, right? And this Antichrist, I, I don't know who it will be. I don't know that, but maybe it might be AI. It might be like an AI Antichrist, right? What they're trying to do is they're trying to, since they already know that we are aware, we are catching up to their evil deeds. What they're trying to do is they are trying to, in a sense, they already know that, right? They already know that. What they're trying to do is they're purposely trying to paint themselves as bad, right? And you might be thinking, hey, isn't that working against them? Why would they paint themselves as bad? That's a good question. That's a valid question. But the reason why they are painting themselves as bad is because once they do that, and once they successfully engineer the end of the world, what they are going to do is they are going to appoint an Antichrist, which they appointed, right? And everyone's going to believe the Antichrist, because when everything is going to be bad, this Antichrist is going to come and be like, I'm God. And he's going to fix everything. The reason why he's going to fix everything is the elites are going to be like, okay, let's fix it because he came. The person that we appointed came. Right? So what they're going to do, since they are the ones who appointed the Antichrist, what's going to happen is that they are the ones who are going to have control. Right? So in other words, they will still have that control. Right? That's non-negotiable, right? They're still going to have that control because they don't want to give it up. They have done so much of bad things. They just don't want to, accept the fact that they are going to die. So they just want to live forever. That's basically, that's also another thing which they're trying to do. They're trying to achieve immortality, right? And that's kind of fucked up because one of the pleasures of being a human, right, is that we all die. The fact that all of this, the fact that all of it has so much of beauty is that it's going to die, right? It's going to go away. Everything goes away. That's why we can have so much of, that's why we can assign so much of value to things, right? They don't care about that, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to assign an Antichrist, right? And they're going to make us believe that Antichrist, right? That's what's going to happen. They're going to reverse engineer the apocalypse, right? Yeah, so it's fucked up. It's really, really fucked up, right? And basically everyone, most of the elites, actually all of the elites, it's better to say all of the elites than most of the elites, because come on, let's be honest here. All of the elites, they're on this, right? Even Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, everyone's there, right? Fun fact, they are I don't know if you guys know this, but the reason why couple of months ago, Trump wanted Greenland. He was like, I want Greenland. I'm going to make Greenland a part of America. I'm going to fight for Greenland, put so much of tariffs on them. The reason why they all want Greenland is because Greenland is home to so much of natural resources, and it's going to be one of the countries least affected by a world war. I'm not joking. It's going to be one of the countries least affected by a world war. And also, if you guys don't know this, there's so much of underground infrastructure underneath Greenland that basically there's so much of underneath underground bunkers that they can build, and they can sustain themselves for many years. So if a world war happens, right, and everything goes to shit, Greenland, the underground bunkers in Greenland, they might have been built or they might not have been built. I'm not sure about that, but they probably are in the process of building them, right? those underground bunkers will basically help them so much in achieving their goals, to help them achieve long-term sustainability, right? Fun fact, Jeff Bezos is like building a clock inside of a mountain, right? I'm not joking about this. He, I think, spent like millions and millions of dollars trying to build a clock, like a fully functional clock inside of a mountain. And like, it sounds stupid, right? Why would you try to build a clock right inside of a mountain? Like, I have my phone, you can just use your phone and just watch it, like look at the time. But what if the only reason he's trying to build like a clock is because he predicts, there's going to be a humongous world war and people are going to lose their sense of time, their track of time, basically. That's thought, right? That's insane to think about, like there's a lot. This is a big rabbit hole, right? But yeah, it's fucked up, right? It's like, fun fact, in like in Jeffrey Epstein's like blue collar building, in his island, his temple, the door, you can lock the door, like the entrance to the building, it's like it's turned the wrong side. Basically, like when you are entering a house, there's the front side of the door. You open it and go in, right? And the lock is usually behind, right? It's inside the house, right? But no, for that building, the lock is out on the outside. So basically, that building was basically designed to lock something inside, right? Basically, let something from the outside come to the inside so they can lock it inside. That's it. Also, fun fact, the building is like pointed towards north. And like in really like the north, right? In certain like stuff, in certain spiritualities and religions, the north, right? It's basically where the demon lives, right? It's basically where all of these spirits, all of these fucked up shit lives, right? So it's like they were trying to invite a demon, right? A demon from like somewhere and trap it inside, right? It's like it's fucking crazy, right? Like, how it's very crazy, right? like like the more you try to understand this world, the less it makes sense. And in a sense, it's like, yeah, the less it makes sense, but also it makes sense in like a very occult way. like there's so much of symbology, like in this world, in this plane, there's so much of symbology that a lot of people just forget about. In a sense, they don't understand what the symbology means. Like, humans are symbolical beings, blah, blah, blah. Humans are metaphorical beings that use symbology. Like, guess why our dreams makes no sense whatsoever? Our dreams makes no sense, right? It's like, okay, I'm walking, then I'm an alien. It's like, the reason is because we are metaphorical beings. That's how we understand. That's how we navigate the world. That's how we navigated the world for thousands and thousands of years, right? And the ancient mystics, our ancient ancestors, they knew this. That's why they had so much of stories. They were trying to, in a sense, protect the future generations from being retarded. That's the best way I could say. They were trying to advise us. They were trying to guide us. But we completely forgot about them. We tried to be too logical, and the moment we tried to be too logical, what happened was we strained away from God. Not like, I don't mean it in like a literal sense. I mean it like in a metaphorical sense. As in, like, the moment we became too logical, what happened was like the world, in a sense, came to shit, right? Now that's just my belief. You guys can believe whatever you want, right? But that's what I personally believe. So yeah. So the reason why I made this video is just to spread awareness as to what they're trying to do. They're trying to create the Antichrist, right? The Antichrist, the anti-God, whatever label you want to assign, they don't care, right? There's so much of evidence to this too, because like in the book of Revelation, like it says at the end of times there would be like a lot of bad things that would come. Like at one point, it was mentioned that a bunch of like flesh-eating dragonflies, holos or last, I forgot what the name of that is called, right? They would come and basically kill everyone. They would come from above and they would kill everyone, right? If you go to the US Army, like automated killing drones, right? Automated killing drones, they are basically that. And you might be thinking, okay, that's a very big stretch, right? But, you know what they call these drones? You know what they call these drones? They call these drones, right, locusts. Like a group of them, they call these locusts. And even in the Bible, they're mentioned as locusts, right? And another thing in the Bible, I think it was Adam, right? He mentioned that when Jesus saw him the future, like showed him the future. I think it was Adam. I can't remember it properly, but when Jesus showed him the future, he saw one vision where people would basically make pacts using their hand, like with their blood hand. They would make transactions, not in a sense transactions, but in a sense they would do that kind of shit, right? So that's already interesting by itself. But the thing is, fun fact, there's a patent by Microsoft for a cryptocurrency exchange, like a body activated cryptocurrency. So basically, you can just hi fi someone and basically you can just transfer money to them, right? It's like that. You know what's the name of the pattern, right? Okay, I don't remember it exactly, but it's World Order 2022 060606, right? It's WO slash 2020 slash 060606. That stands for World Order 2020 666. 666, that's the devil's number. World Order, we already know what that is. 2020, that is a very important year. What happened in 2020? COVID, right? A lot of other things happened in 2020, right? It's almost as if like 2020, like most people wish they can go back to 2018 and 2019, right? They're like, okay, ever since it became 2020, 2021, that's when shit, became bad. Yeah, the reason why it became bad was like in 2020, right? Basically, what happened was they initiated the world order. I mean, they initiated it way before, but in 2020, for our generation, it happened, right? So, yeah, now you know a little bit more. If you already know this, then good. Tell this to everyone you know. You might sound like a nut job, but like say it online on YouTube, right? And don't share it with any of your friends because they might think you are retarded. But yeah, that's all I have to say, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day and stay safe, right? We need each other, right? They are trying to basically separate us, right? Okay, I'll tell you one more thing. Fun fact: humans are not like chimpanzees in the sense that chimpanzees like they derive their social standing based on power. Like the strongest one wins. But humans are not like that. We are social creatures. Basically, there's no one specific person who rules their civilization. It's a group effort. That's how it always has been. So basically, what has happened throughout history is that whenever like one of our ancestors has collected too much resources, the group of other Homo sapiens, they would collectively talk behind his back. They would collectively, make fun of him. They would collectively do all that kind of stuff to basically get him off the pedestal so that the group value could be equal. And the reason why this happens is human beings are not capable of being ruled by someone, right? It has never worked properly before in the past, right? We work as a collective, right? That's how we best function. So what's happening right now is that people are waking up to that. They're realizing that all of these elites, they are holding way too much resources, and we as a collective hold more power than them, right? We can destroy them, right? For legal reasons, that's a joke, right? I don't mean it in the bad sense, but like I mean it in like a metaphorical sense, right? But we as a collective have so much more power than them, right? We can do something about it, right? Most people are basically fear mongering you. They're like, oh no, it's the end of times, we can't do this or that, right? They have power, we already lost, people are not working together. It's like, yeah, the reason why they're not working together is because you are fear mongering them. It's as simple as that, right? Like, yes, I understand you can make an observation about reality, but the thing is you can't predict the future, right? And you might be thinking, okay, based on statistics and based on common sense, I could say like, people won't work together. And you're like, The French Revolution happened. So why can't it happen now? Right? It's like you can't predict the future, man. Right? This is the first time in history where something like this has happened, right? As per our knowledge, at least, right? So, like, you can't really say that. Chances are, okay, this is my opinion, right? This is what I think. I think what's going to happen is that we are not going to have the end of times, but rather what we are going to have is a complete and utter revolution, and we are going to have the next Renaissance. I completely 100% believe that, right? If you look at the original Renaissance, what happened was like the Renaissance was happening simultaneously while everything was bad, right? So like there was still so much of slavery, so much of poverty, so much of like bad things. Like it was objectively a bad time, but the Renaissance was happening simultaneously, right? So what happened was there was like a group of people, a small group of people that conducted the Renaissance on their own. Basically, in a sense, the actually critical thinking people of their time. That's basically what happened with the Renaissance, and I think that's what's going to happen with this generation, right? I think what's going to happen is we are going to have the Renaissance, and in the next 30, 50, 60 years, 100 years, or maybe in a couple 100 years, people are going to look back onto this time, right? And into the coming years, and they're going to be like, that was peak human life, right? That was the peak of humanity, right? Because we are already having that, right? And the reason why I say this is because I've seen like a lot of movies and like Eastern, like basically a lot of creative arts have been like in a sense flourishing, like, and I truly mean this. Like, when I look at a lot of the shows made by the East, I'm like, holy shit, that looks so good. Like, I have never seen a concept like that before. And even like when it comes to Western movies, they're starting to get good. Like, a lot of movies made by Western studios, they were pretty bad, but now they're starting to get really good. Maybe not all of them, but they're going on that trajectory, right? And even video games, like, there's a video, like, basically a lot of arts are starting to get really, really good. If you pay attention, you could start to see is that it's starting to increase in number, like a lot. I think what's happening is a lot of people are turning their suffering into art, right? So that's my reason as to why I believe the Renaissance is happening, and it still has not like fully begun yet. It's still like it's still the first snowball, right? Like the snowball rolls over and it becomes an avalanche. It's still in the very, very early stages, right? The avalanche, that's the Renaissance, right? And all the people who are dying, those are the elites, by the way, right? So like it's still in the very early stages. So what I think is going to happen is that I'm a spiritual person, and I personally believe that we are hardwired to seek spirituality and to seek the truth, right? That's why a lot of us suffer. A lot of us suffer because we don't basically know ourselves properly. And like what we have to do is we have to go and search for the truth, right? You might call it religion, you might call it science, you might call it whatever, spirituality, right? You know, but everyone would eventually be forced to search for the truth. So what's happening right now is that, whoa, it's a dragonfly. I got scared. But what's happening right now is that everyone's so depressed, everyone's so down. It's basically forcing everyone. The fact that all of this depression is forcing everyone to re-look at the entire landscape, right? And they know this. The elites know this, by the way. So what we can do is use that to our advantage. Go search for the truth, right? Go search for it. And a byproduct of searching for that is that the elites will be taken down, right? Trust me on this. Like, as per the Hindu cycle, we are in the bad times, but after the bad times, it's going to be the good times. But the thing is, the good times only come when people search for the truth. That's it. That's what most people don't realize. After the bad times, there's going to be the good. What if we are already at the end of the bad times, right? What if we are going to have that underdog story, right? Before the World War, we fucking break it. Before like the next World War, right? We completely destroy them, right? I don't think that specifically would happen. Maybe like I'm not making predictions here, but I do think we are going to have that underdog story, right? I think what's going to happen, in my opinion, there's going to be a humongous leak, and this leak is going to cause some, let's say, in some people being offed, right? I think that's my prediction, right? I just made it up on the spot, and that's going to cause an entire revolution. I think if it's going to get bad, it's going to be the next world war. But if it's going to get good, there's going to be a revelation, and some people would have to get, destroyed, right? Respectfully, actually not respectful. They don't deserve respect, but yeah. So yeah, go out there and search for the truth, and yeah, basically, be with your community, love each other, because that's the only way we can beat them. Like by ourselves we are weak, but together we can make a big difference, right? So let's all work together, right? And if you're like afraid to go out and like tell these kinds of conspiracies to your friends because they might judge you, then that's fine. Go to these online spaces and spread the word, right? Spread the word. Go to TikTok, make a video about it. Go to YouTube, make a video about it. Go to Facebook, go to Reddit, just talk about it. Just get more people to know, right? Because studies have shown that when like 10 to 12% of a group starts to adopt a new behavior, it easily spreads to the entire group, right? So if we can get at least 4%, that 4% is going to skyrocket to 10, 12 very easily, and then after that it's going to become 100%, so yeah, I don't know who you are, but I love you. And I think we have the shared common understanding that we are united by love. Meanwhile, our enemies, the enemies, the people up here, they are united by greed. And that's why you can defeat them, right? We can, right? This is the resistance in a sense. That sounds so cringe. But this is the resistance, right? So yeah, let's work together. Whether you're on the spiritual path, whether you're on the non-spiritual path, whoever you are, right? Whether you are a sinner or a non-sinner, whether you are fucking furry or not a furry, I don't know, right? At least you're not them, right? So yeah, let's work together, let's love each other, and let's do our best, right? Bye. I love you.